Welcome to the cloud, a place where I talk to people who are chasing their dreams and ferociously living them as well too. When you talk to those who are in Syracuse, New York, they tell you that he's a great producer, a great individual first and foremost, but a great producer, a great artist, somebody that has worked with a lot of the local talent out there and has opened his musical mind to those to try and be the best that they could also be. Not only that, he works with some of the toughest youth in the Syracuse City School District because, you know what I'm saying, that's where his heart is at as well too. Real name Joe, but if you're talking about them bars and you're talking about music and you're talking about the things that give you a vibe, we're talking about 20BANDZGO. Welcome to the show.
Yo, thanks for having me, bro.
For sure.
Good to be here.
How you feeling? What's up? How your day?
Man, I'm feeling good, man.
Really good to be here.
Took that drive. It was nice. It was pretty.
For sure. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be a great talk. So like I said, usually I'm talking to those who are chasing their dreams, but I usually like to make a connection between the beginning of their life to where we'll ultimately end at in this conversation. So when it comes to beginning, where are you from?
So I'm from the Bronx, but if you ask me, I'm really from all over the city. I lived in the Bronx most of my life,
Okay.
But I lived in Philly for like a year or two, and I lived in Brooklyn for like a year, but now I've been in Syracuse for like 6 years.
Syracuse for 6 years. All right, so let me ask you this question. I got to ask it because we work with inner city kids, right? You're a Bronx native. Right now, a lot of things in the news that you hear about the Bronx isn't the best, but
Facts.
you're a child from there, so you know what it's really like. You know where the love is, where the passion is, what the good things are. If you have some good things to shine on the Bronx, what would you say?
As much as it don't seem that way, like the Bronx really is like a real community. Like everybody knows each other, everybody's tapped in. Like there's people that you know you gotta watch out for, like always, no matter where you go. But if you ask around, like everybody knows each other. Like I just went to the city the other day. I just did a performance. Shout out to everybody that was there. It was a bunch of like ARs and PR people. But I ended up meeting a dude who was cool with somebody who performed, and turns out like I got like 7 mutual friends with bro. So you know, like it just be like he's like, oh, you know Monkey, you know Grease, like yeah, of course, like.
But it's so crazy because there's so many people. You figure I'm from right where we at right now, over New York. So you figure what a max population might be 80,000, right? Y'all got that in half of a borough. You know what I'm saying? So. For you to say that all of you guys know each other and things like that, it's crazy, right? It's
crazy, like
for sure.
And you know, DJs know the people in the block. Like everybody gets an opportunity. My bro came from, my boy. His name was Ian Connor. He used to pick me up from high school, and we used to go downtown. And like he's from Atlanta originally, but then he just came around. He had a grill that said his name in it. We was like 17, so like it was crazy. The bro had a whole grill with his name in it. But like Supreme ended up picking him up. Now he like he discovered Playboy Cardi, like he styled Kanye West.
Can't beat that, man. It's
you
funny.
know what I mean?
It's funny how the world works, man.
It's
crazy.
It's
about who you know as well too. So, childhood in the Bronx. You grew up as a kid. How long did you live there for? How long did you live in the city as a whole for? Let me give you the
So I lived until I was pretty much like 21.
Oh, okay.
And then I lived in Philly for like a year, and I came back when I was 22. And then I was about to have a baby, so then I came out to Syracuse right there at 22.
Copy.
Right there.
All right, so for a kid like me from upstate New York, most brothers in the city be like, upstate New York, you get cows, country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Shit like that. But I want to know what the city's like either. So as a child, what were some of your favorite childhood memories living in the city?
So, like I said, everybody's connected, so we would go from spot to spot, like, we go to parties every week. Like
give me a vivid picture of a bodega. I've never even been.
All right, so you pull up into the store, you be like, yo, what's good? Like, what's going on today? Like, you be like, no credit. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, because people be like pulling up, trying to get it off the arm.
Yeah, for sure.
Like no credit. I'm like, yo, nah. So you pull up, you say what's up to Ak. He see you every day, so he gonna give you a dap.
Yeah.
Then you go to the back, like there's gonna be either gonna be Ak or some Mexican bro. Like he cool. I call him Primo.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, what's good, Primo? Like he be like, get okay. So I be like, yo, let me get a chopped cheese. Like, let me get a chopped cheese on a hero.
So now that we're here, this is a sidebar. Like I said, I'm an upstate kid.
Right.
What's the difference between a chopped cheese and a cheeseburger? Please explain from the city.
Honestly,
I need somebody to really explain that for me. This is a sidebar. We're going to get to the real shit.
I can't explain it, but like, I'm going to put it into the simplest of terms. Like, they take the ground beef, they take like the veggies, they take the cheese, they season that bitch, but the seasoning is different. Like it's not like regular hamburger seasoning. Like I don't know what it got crack in it. It got crack in it, bro. I can't explain it no other way. He chop it up, he puts it all together. He puts it on a hero. We call roles heroes out there.
copy.
So he put it on the hero, and then that's it. That's just the chopped cheese. He got like it could go. It depends on what borough you in, but it can go any type of way. I can put like green peppers, onions, tomatoes, pickles.
So depending on the borough, depends on what type of chopped cheese.
Yeah, what type of style they're gonna make it in.
Copy. All right, we're gonna get back on.
Pause.
Subject.
People gonna say Harlem got the best chopped cheeses, but if you go to Gun Hill, they got the best chopped cheese. Infamous Gourmet.
Look, you got my producer saying that's a fact.
Infamous Gourmet. You gotta go to the Bronx, get it over there.
I hear that shit. All right, now look, family. What was your family like? How many siblings you got? Where do you fall in between your siblings? Anything like that?
So my family is messy. So I'm not gonna lie. So I'm adopted, and so I gotta count both of them. So like my mom, she got 8 of us.
Okay.
She got 8 of us. She was getting around like Tupac. Like,
come on, son.
Nah, I respect. Nah, no disrespect. Like,
For sure.
You know, she a player.
Yeah.
But my mom, she got around like Tupac. She had 8 of us. Yeah, we made a little clan. My dad, he got 4.
Okay.
My dad, he did his thing too. He just wasn't free long enough to have more. I swear, if he was free longer, he would have had more. Like,
so those are your 2 biological parents?
Yeah, those are my 2 biologicals, and then on my adopted family, I got
8,
3
4,
siblings.
that's 12.
Yeah, I got 3 siblings on my adopted side, and they cool. They all cool as hell.
Later on, we'll get into the work that both of us do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But explain what was your childhood dynamics like without getting too deep.
Yeah, without my mom was struggling with substances.
Okay.
She passed me around a few times, and then when my pops, he got locked up as soon as I was born. So so he really wasn't in the picture like that. I met him at like 17. Okay. So so it was a little crazy. The cribs I was in as a baby was getting shot up. It was bananas. Like she wasn't even there for that part, but like it was bananas. So the system took me in, and like I was pretty much a baby. I got taken by my foster parents. God bless them, because they really did right by me. They was in the trenches, but they did the best they could. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they gave me a real childhood. Yeah. Like, so I went to school in the hood, like, but I was they took me around the world though. So like,
it's the importance of like having family though, right?
Right.
Like,
so,
and I'm not saying, like I said, this is no knock. I'm understanding you're a big family issue because my dad's one of 14, right?
Right.
So I got 36 first cousins. It's just ridiculous, just on one side. So I get what you're saying, but necessarily not to where you're coming from.
Right.
But I say all of that to say the feeling of family, no matter how financial, no matter how no matter how financially prosperous you are or not, when you have that feeling of it's y'all against the world or it's y'all to go forward, it does make a difference. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what made a difference for a lot of the kids that I think we work with on a daily basis. But if I could guess, it's what made a difference for you as well, too.
Yeah, man. I had my siblings until I was like, I want to say like 5, like my biological siblings. And, like we gave each other shit, but we go to bat for each other at the same time. But once they was out of the picture, like, I was just pretty much fending for myself. All my foster siblings, like, they all grown. So, like, I was pretty much the baby in that family. But, yeah, like, I did have a good sense of family at the end of the day. Like, I always go back to the city. I go see my parents, both sets of them.
Yeah.
Like, I call my pops, or he calls me, but he's about to be free soon. So, he called me whenever he can. We got good talks. It's like talking into the mirror.
What were your earliest passions? It sounds like your upbringing was slightly rough. So what did you kind of like gravitate to? Like as a young kid, let's say between 7 and 11. Like what were your things? What games? What video games? What were the things that drew you out of whatever you was in?
At first, my brother was always into anime, like growing up. So
which ones though? Let's talk. I'm not an
my
anime person, but I know some anime
my
demons.
oldest brother, he was into like Dragon Ball, Samurai Champloo,
For sure.
Cowboy Bebop, all that stuff. So like I wasn't rocking with it at first, but when I got to elementary school, I saw like the impact that it had on like my classmates and my peers, and so I ended up getting into it like around like kindergarten, first grade, like so. And one of my boys, like one of my sandbox friends to this day, like I can still call him on the phone. He ended up teaching me how to draw. And he taught me how to draw anime. So drawing was like one of my biggest pastimes. Like I ended up in high school, I ended up going to an art school. that kind of discouraged me from drawing though, because kids was like really, they was elite.
They was doing it.
It was elite. That's when I put down the pad and I started doing music. Cause like I was like, nah, y'all got it over here, but y'all not gonna touch me in this field. So so I always like singing always brought me like a lot of like comfort. Like I had a lot of trauma growing up, so like when I sang, like it kind of like brought like a warm feeling over me. And like my foster pops never really believed in me either until he seen the reaction that other people had to me singing. Like then he was like, okay, Joe, you can actually do this. Like, but he believed in me at first.
Who were the people that you looked up to? That you, like in a sense, who were your OGs? Who were the people that you looked at and was like, if I could do anything or take something from them, I would take this? Who were those people in your life directly?
So I got one huge one. His name is Keke. He from Gun Hill, just like me. He was an older dude. I used to like, I was in high school. I used to like sneak to his crib, like, smoke weed when I was younger. And like, I just remember him like getting on me like, yo, you can't cut school and come hang out over here. Like, you gotta get your shit together. Like, so I just remember him being like a huge influence on me. Also in high school, I met this guy named EJ Randolph. He is a vocal coach for multiple celebrities like Usher, Beyonce, but one of my close friends growing up, like he was her mentor.
Okay.
And so he ended up mentoring me, but he ended up mentoring. He managed Cat Dahlia. She made like the gangster song, like "You Say You a Gangster, you don't impress me now." Yeah. So I remember being like in his studio. It was in Times Square. Like I'm in the middle of Times Square in a studio. I had like a Michael Kors watch. Like I was like, yeah, I got a watch now. Like I pulled up on him and I was just like, yeah, like I just don't have the resources to like be in studios like this, but I wanna make music. And I remember him just like, he took out like a band and he just started counting, and I'm like, damn, this nigga rubbing it in my face. But like, nah, he ended up like tossing me $400. And I didn't understand, like, it was a test, but I didn't understand it back then. I was like, what are you giving me this for? And he was like, it's money, spend it. I understand now, like, he probably wanted me to book a studio session right there.
Right then and there.
My dumb ass went and got Jordans, but like, but like, I remember I was there with like some little girl I was messing with at the time. She was like, wow, you're so cool. But like, I was like, he was putting me on to game. I was 16 at the time. So like,
you learn.
But yeah, exactly. But you know, that was a huge mentor for me too. Like he pretty much like put me he put me onto game. Like, and a lot of the stuff that I do now, like I learned from him. And then like another mentor, so I got like 3 throughout my life. Another mentor through my childhood. This was more like when I came to Syracuse. His name is Salvador Cesare. He owns Red Brick. So I was homeless for a while, like when I came out here.
What made you pick Cuse, if you don't mind? Real short.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my daughter a better experience. I remember like my baby mom was pregnant and I was still in the trenches, and I just remember like her calling me. I worked in Soho, and I remember her calling me like, yo, I'm getting followed around by this dude like in the building, and I'm like, well, fuck, like it's not like I could swing down from Soho, like that shit is deep. Like, so I just said like, yo, just call your moms and we stay out in Syracuse for a little bit, you know? Yeah. So we get our own shit. I was working like 4 jobs at once, bro. Just trying to get my shit together, bro. Like I worked 2 jobs in the mall. I did construction.
Grind.
And then I just remember like the dude I was doing construction for, his name was Sal. So like I was just like, he had the studio. He was like, yo, why don't you just work in the studio for a little bit? And I'm like, I had like a computer before and I would record dudes in my projects, but like that's as far as it went at the time.
Before you came upstate, where did you just decide like music is what I'm going to do? Like when did you become? Let me ask this question: because you said that your biological parents necessarily weren't there, you get adopted, and then they necessarily didn't even believe in you singing. So where did your music get pulled from?
I was in 9th grade, and I just remember being in art class. My teacher was such a sweetheart. Her name is Carol Sun. She did the stained glass murals for all of the 4 line, the train station, all the way up to Yankee Stadium. She believed in me. She wanted me to go to Parsons College so bad, and she gave me a cosign, but I never went. But I just remember being in her class, and I looked left and I looked right, and just like everybody was so much better than me at drawing. But when I was drawing in middle school, like I was the best. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like I get to high school and everybody is so much nicer than me, and that shit really discouraged me. So I I remember I was into rock music. I still am. I'm saying I am. I'm into all music, but
Yeah, you
like
should.
I was really into rock music at the time, and I just wanted to be in a rock band. Like, so I was just like, I put together a rock band, and I just remember like, drawing is not really cutting it right now. Like, I'm gonna start making music, and so I got in the rock band, and we actually kind of went a little far, like low key. We was all kids, like we was always the shortest and the youngest at every venue.
Yeah.
But like we ended up performing, like opening up for bands that I listened to in my part-time, in my pastime. So it was dope. It was just, we was all kids. So like we couldn't really stay focused. Like
Yeah.
I always had my eye like tunnel vision, but like my friends, they would start coming late to shows and like in the middle of the set, he coming in, stepping on stage, picking up his guitar and starting to play. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? We in Times Square right now, bro. Like, you're making me look bad. Like, so that's when I knew, like, yeah, I gotta do music, like music. Then my band broke up like 2 years later, and I was like about to be a junior, and my lead guitarist, he was like, yo, bro, you always rapping, like, why don't you just rap? Like, you listen to hip hop, like you rap.
Wow, that's crazy.
You sound pretty dope. Like, he was like, I could tell the band is gonna fall apart. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. I'll support you. Like, and he was like, you could do it on your
Talking
own.
about your original passion was rock and roll?
It was. It was just music in general. It was just singing. It was just singing
though,
at
probably
first.
sounds, right?
It was just singing at first. Like, I would just sing to anything, whether it was like my parents playing bachata, like, and I would just sing along, or like. But I really enjoyed like listening to rock music.
What were your first sounds, music, artists that kind of just that you gravitated to?
I used to listen to like, with my mom, my foster mom, we used to listen to like Motown a lot. So I was really inspired by Motown. I really was inspired by like 80s like hair metal, like, and like
What the fuck is hair metal?
like with the dudes with the crazy puffy hair that just like swing it around and shit.
Copy.
Besides that, like a band from my childhood I really liked was Pantera. Like, I really liked that band. That was one of my favorite bands growing up. I liked Motown, I liked hair metal, and I liked like Spanish music, like old school bachata and like dembo. Like, dembo is like that party shit. Like, la mamada, like that shit. That's like, those is like three of the things that I listen to the most. And like weird hip hop. Like, when I was into rock music, I like more like weird hip hop.
Your earliest memories of your mother and your biological mother and biological father, was that the music that they listened to, or are you talking about what your foster parents would listen to?
So that's like what I gravitated to. But like my mom, my foster mom, she liked Motown.
Motown
a lot.
copy.
So like every week, like she would. First of all, this was back when we used to like buy stuff off catalogs.
Yeah, for sure.
There was no Amazon back then. Like, so she would open up the catalogs and be like, "Oh, Motown coming out with the new like greatest hits." So she would buy every greatest hits that came out. Like, so I would get my music from like. When it was the rock, I would have to like stay up until like 12 to 1 o'clock for like Headbangers Ball on MTV, or I'll just like after school I'll come on and put on Fuse. I don't even know if that channel exists anymore.
Fuse was a little late, so if I'm aging myself, a couple years before you, I had like 106 in Park. I used to come home.
Okay,
to,
that was for the hip hop. I remember TRL.
That's what I was coming on to, but you basically on the same thing. I don't even know if kids watch music videos if it ain't on YouTube.
Right. I used to come home from school and like, for like the hip hop and like other stuff, like I'll just turn on Fuse and like they always had like new music like every week.
So you go from, what was the rock band you named?
Pantera.
Your man tells you should rap.
Right.
Now I'm pretty sure prior to you was listening to rap too.
Yeah,
right?
I was, but I was into like weirder rap music. Like,
I don't even want to know what type you call it.
just like Slim Shady and like Our Future.
I just want you to tell me. Ain't nothing weird. Sound is sound. Music is music. Right. Love is love. That's what I'm saying. So, with that being said, when you made the transition to rap, who were because you're very multifaceted. Let me explain why I'm asking all of these questions. Not only is my man a singer, not only is my man a rapper, he produces, he plays instruments, he does all of that. So these are questions that need to be asked to understand fully who he is as an artist, right? So I asked this question. You liked rock. When you made the transition or while you were still listening to rock, what were your, I guess, favorite hip hop influences at that time?
I liked Our Future a lot.
Pump It Off You. So that's
Earl Sweatshirt, back in the
Tyler,
day.
the Creator.
Tyler, Domo Genesis was my favorite though. Out of
Your favorite
all that.
rapper?
Yeah, he was my favorite rapper in our Future at the time. Like
That's crazy.
he was tough. I'm not gonna lie. He was like the one that
You
had
gonna nerd out. That's
he
why
had
I
a
asked
little
you just
hood
to
in
go.
him though. So
Yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
so I'm like, okay, like he remake a gangster, but like it's like cloud, like it's like calm, like beats, like
Yeah,
zenned
for
out.
sure.
There's this Japanese group called the 20BANDZGO. They made the intro for Samurai Champloo, but like I always like listen to their instrumentals all the time.
Oh, okay.
Like that was like one of my biggest influences, like the 20BANDZGO. Like I love them. I just started listening to them again, but like they was tough. Like you know, I'm a New Yorker, so we know every single
Yeah.
Biggie song like the back of our hand.
sure.
Like if you asked me back when I was younger, I didn't like Pac, but like now that I'm getting older, like you know, I'm gravitating
I'm
more
still
to
with
Pac.
Big, but
you know what I mean?
think when you understand, I think when you separate the two from I always separate rap from the mechanics of rap and then like the message of rap, right? So
Right.
when you look at like a Pac or like, I think Wayne is the unique version of both, right? He had
Right.
the impact. Like you see everybody now, they look like little Lil Waynes, right?
Right.
So he had the
Sounded
impact.
like him,
Yeah,
too.
he had the impact that Pac had, right? But he was lyrically inclined like the bigs and everybody that we revere as being the most lyricists, right?
Right.
So when you say, I agree with you in the sense that I think as it pertains to message and I guess cadence, I would fuck with Pac. But for me, what I love and what I like as a
Biggie.
upstate New Yorker,
he was
you want the
swag.
metaphors, the lyrics,
Yeah.
the storytelling, the talking about the chicks, the money,
Right.
you
The
want
energy
that, you want that
overall,
period,
yeah.
you want that conversation.
Facts. Big L and Nas
For
and
sure.
Jada. Those three, like those heavy in my replays when I was growing up.
So what did you fall in love with first? The singing, writing, and creating of music, or the ability to produce the sound that makes the music go, being a producer?
So I fell in love with singing first. Like that was the first thing, because that was like the easiest thing for me. Like something I could just do, like, and I was doing that since I was like 7. Like I just always sang. But then like I used to model growing up. Like I used to model like Hood by Air. I did Adidas. I did YouTube Music. I did a whole bunch of like modeling gigs, and I was using that to like elevate like my music at the time. But I was working really hard with like Hood by Air at the time and Ben Trill, and Ben Trill was facilitated by Virgil before he did Pyrex and Off-White. So, but I just remember like I did a music video where I did a cameo in an A$AP Rocky video, and that's when like stuff was really getting hot for like, you know, well before then was when it was really firing up. And I remember one of my homies, he was so thirsty for a Hood by Air piece, like, and I had him by the boatload because I was modeling for them.
So they gave it
So
to you.
yeah, facts. So they gave it to me for the love. So I was just like, yo, bro, I got the box logo. It's going for $950 right now. Let me get your Mac. I'll give you my box logo, because I remember he wanted to sell it.
Yeah.
And so he sold me his Mac, and I was in the projects at the time. I was in Gun Hill Projects, and I got my computer. I had GarageBand on it, and I got like a $50 mic. Pardon me. And I just started telling dudes in my building. I was like, yo, I got like a little setup in my crib, like 15 an
Talking
hour.
about before you even knew how to use the app?
Before I even knew how to do anything, bro. I had no plugins, like shit sounded like dirt.
You was trying to get $1.
Yeah, man.
Nah,
like,
you fuck with
cause
music.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I was touching thousands through modeling, but it was like every like 3 to 6 months. So like I'll get a large sum of money,
Yeah.
but then I wouldn't see it again.
So let me ask you this question. What point did you realize when Son gave you $400, he wanted you to do that? And then when I asked that question, I want to tie it to when you was making thousands, at what point did you start investing in yourself musically?
Yo, realistically, I didn't start investing in myself musically until I came back to Syracuse.
Okay.
Not the first time I came to Syracuse, the second time, because I went back to the city for like a year.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I always had my eye on like just getting it fast. Like I never
Yeah.
really like slowed down and said, hold on, what the fuck am I doing? Like it never really clicked to me. I don't know if it's because I have ADHD. Like I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I like after I was done modeling, I don't know if it's like I missed like the clothes. Like I don't know what it was, but like I never really like took the time to like be like, nah, I need this.
This is what I want to ask. Somebody wrote a song to one of your beats, right? What was the first beat that you made that a song was made to that made you fucking hear it and be like,
I
I
gotta
can do this shit?
I'm not gonna lie. Nobody made music to my beats until 2020. Cause my shits was so ass, bro. I'm gonna be real. Like they was all practice. Like, so I'm gonna be real. Like, I couldn't even make a song to one of my beats because like I would hear it and just not be inspired
by it.
But it was just like the practice. Like it's just like a practice run on how to get. You know what? I'm lying. Actually, I started making beats with some dude. His name is FaZe Minor. His real name Rich. He cool, man. Like he bipolar as hell. Like he'll tell you himself.
Yeah.
But like I just remember like the first time I came to Syracuse. This was before I lived here. I was just visiting at the time, cause my baby mom's from out here, so I would just visit with her. And she introduced me to Sal way before I started working for him. So upstairs he used to like rent out the studio, and he's just like this dude who's like. He was just in love with hip hop, like, and he pretty much like I would make beats, but like it would never sound like the way I wanted it to, and I just remembered like so I guess you could say he was like another mentor.
Yeah.
But like I just remember like me telling him the structure and like what instruments to use, like what to sample, like before I knew how to use like the high tech software.
Yeah.
And cause I was just YouTube it to MP3 and then just chop it. But like he actually like threw it into a sampler, like,
Copy.
put it all together. And like, that's when I was really watching like, yo, this
So there wasn't a specific
like
song that made you like, I'm good at this shit?
Nah, I just kept on doing it. Like,
And it just,
I just knew.
You don't remember the beat that we got to. At some point you was pressing the buttons.
I'm gonna get to it right now.
This one is the one.
So he had like a machine before like machines were hot. Machine is like this big beat pad, like you got mad buttons and knobs. And like there's a bunch of like stock sounds, like stock samples.
That are already within the
already
system.
in it.
Copy.
So I just remember like this weird like techno-y sound, and I still have the song on SoundCloud to this day. But I remember hearing the sound and I was like, pause, that's the one, I need that sound. So he put together the beat for me and then he gave me all the track outs. And I took the track outs and I made it my own. Like I made it my own when I got to the studio downstairs, and I made a song to it and I called it Wake Up. Like, and that was the first beat that I actually was able to make a song to. And I was like, yo, this shit is pretty hot. Like, like it was that one. It's called Wake Up. It's on my SoundCloud. It's off my first mixtape. It's called Memories. And it's off the SoundCloud era. It's SoundCloud Go. That's SoundCloud era Go.
When you think of producers, everybody has these conversations. First off, I want to ask you, as a producer, what do you think makes you a producer? Let me preface this question. You have the executive producer who pays the people who actually know how to hit the buttons and all that, and puts the right people in the same room to make a great song.
The direction.
Then you have the producer like you who actually touching the buttons, touching the keys, playing the instruments to make the sound come together that makes everybody in the world bounce.
Right.
What, to you personally, what makes a producer?
So a person who just makes beats, like that's a beat maker. You know what I mean? That's a beat writer, like whatever you want to call it. But like a producer is somebody who's gonna put the song together, have the artist record over the beat. Like when the artist records over it and they record them, they're gonna change the beat up to their tempo. Like I feel like, and I say this all the time, I feel like I'm more of like, I feel like a stylist or a designer, because like it's like when I make the beat, like you can call me like a beat maker or a producer, but like when you record on my beat, like now I'm a stylist or a designer, because now I'm about to tailor it to your track. Yeah. So you can record over it, and that's like one of the things like I tell people, like it's better like to record with me when I make you the beat than to take it somewhere else, because I have the stems. Like, and when you record over it, I'm gonna add stuff, I'm gonna take stuff out, like and really make it pop. Like the person that they recorded with, the only thing they can do is like put drops in, take out the beat, or just like make a stutter on the beat. Like like I could like add shit to it
for sure,
and like really make it like come together more. So like I feel like the producer is the person who really makes the song come together, like as a whole. Like you're producing the song, like versus a beat maker who's just making the beat.
So with that said, as a producer, who is your favorite 3 producers of all time?
Yeah.
By your explanation.
All right. I love piano. You see me playing the piano, so I gotta say Zaytoven.
Okay.
I gotta say Zaytoven. He's goated. He's amazing. I gotta say Lex Luger. He pretty much he helped invent trap music. Like, you know, he's one of the forefathers of trap music. And man, I gotta be careful, man, because I really don't want to leave nobody out. That's really important because
It's your top 3.
I know, but like it's so hard to like narrow it down like to 3. You know what I mean? So or even 5. Like it's so hard because there's so many amazing producers out there. But I'm gonna say Timbo. I'm gonna say
Timbo?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Timberland. Just cause like he got one of the craziest bass lines ever. Like ever. And that shit like riding all up and down the tracks. Like I gotta say Timbo. So Timberland. And you know, like honorable mentions, like Hitmaker, like, you know, shout outs to Southside.
So right now you got a little producer beef going on. You got Hit Boy shooting that Hitmaker.
Oh man,
shooting that Southside.
I'm so sorry, 40. 40 gotta be an honorable mention, bro.
Is 40 a beat maker, engineer, or is he everything in one?
I feel like he's a producer because he done did everything with Drake, like when it was just them two together. So like he was recording Drake Dolo, just like him and his computer. So he gotta be a producer, like not just a beat maker. But to
me, I feel like 40 is
he's a visionary
for sure. Like he's quiet though, right? Like you see, you get like a Kanye producer who gives you his beats and then lets you know he's the one.
Shout out to Kanye.
I know, right?
Oh my God, that's why I said it's so hard, bro. Like you naming all these people.
No, I'm just saying, but you got Ye. You figure that I believe was more outgoing with what he knew he could do. Got the Pharrells. You got the Just Blazes.
Jalil Beats, holla at me. Influential for real.
Just I think there's a lot of different sounds and different things that came into the game that by preference you could get there. But I really wanted to ask you that question because knowing that you're able to play the instrument,
right?
There is that divide between what is an actual producer. So what would you like when you think about Khaled, right? A lot of people would say Khaled just puts a lot of people in the same room.
He's an executive producer.
But he's an executive producer, right?
Right.
So there's levels to it, and I think that we need to. I think for my audience, because I'm talking to people who are chasing their dreams and trying to live them as well too, they need to know all the opportunities they have in order to chase that dream, right?
Right.
I always use my great camera person as an example, right? When you look at Hollywood, a lot of times you see the actor, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. Things you don't see the guy who's running the camera. You don't see the guy who's writing. You don't see the guy who's directing. You don't see the guy who's doing lighting. You don't see the guy who's doing, you know what I mean, styling, things of those nature. Those names don't even come up. You understand what I'm saying? But they make 6-figure money in an industry that needs them. A lot of us think that we need to just be the rapper, the artist, the head person to make $1 in an industry that we would love to be a part of. When honestly, if you just, you know what I'm saying, look really deep, there's other ways to make that money. And I think talking to you not only highlights all of your talents, but it highlights your talents for my audience to know that you could be more, you could be a jack of all trades. You feel what I'm saying? There is a difference between being an executive producer. There's a difference between being able to learn how to play the actual keys, play the actual instrument, take a sample, put it in something, you know what I'm saying? Structure a song, right? A lot of people think they could just take the beat off of YouTube, throw it into their system, rap, and then they're gonna get a hit, right? That's not the case. Like there's more technical things that go to that. So in knowing so and talking to you, I think for my audience, and for yours as well too, not only do they get to know how in depth and how in tune you are with music as a whole, but they also get to understand that there's more to music than just the man that's on the camera every day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Moving forward, I want to talk about you. So you come back to the Q's, and at what year, at what time, I think it was 2020 you said, did you say that you said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try and do everything I can in this music game? And what was the defining moment? Like, what was it that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna give them all?
I remember, like, I used to, like, lease beats, like, off of YouTube, just like you said, like, BeatStars. And I just realized, like, I'm broke as fuck. I gotta keep it real, bro. I was like, I'm fucking broke. Like,
Sometimes it's the best way to be.
like, I'm like, I can't pay for this. Like, just straight up, just like that. I'm like, and at the same time, like, I remember like looking to Sal, like, damn, like Sal's one of like the best people out here in the town, like doing this, and I can't even afford him and shit. Like I work out of his studio. Like I can't even afford him because like, you know, he's just too expensive for me. He out of my budget. And I just realized I was just like, I need to do this on my own because like at the end of the day, like nobody's gonna put a hand out.
For sure.
Nobody's gonna give you a handout. Like the man might teach you how to fish, like what Sal did. He taught me how to fish.
Yeah.
So he don't got pardon me. So he don't got to catch them for me.
Exactly.
So I just from there I was just like I have to do it on my own. Like nobody else is gonna do it for me. And on top of that, like I kept on looking and like everybody was raising all these producers. They getting better that I was following and they raising their prices. I really fucked with Black Mayo back then on YouTube. Now he's in the industry.
Industry for sure.
He's an industry producer now. So it's like, shit, like, you know, like I can't even, you know, I can't rock with that. He's raising his prices on everybody, you know, so it's only a matter of time before you get a placement. And that placement and that cosign is going to decide where you're going to go.
Where you
with
gonna
it.
go from that point forward?
So, you know, like I was just like, I see it like every song is like a lottery pick. So I'm like, well, shit, I guess I'll keep on buying scratch offs, like, you know?
So as a producer, are you always making a beat based off of the artistry, or are you making a beat trying to catch that lick?
So,
Or is it a balance of both?
yeah, so I make a beat in two ways. I have a folder with like, I want to say like 500 to 700 beats, like straight up. And I got it like labeled by the year it was made and everything. So when I have artists come in, like, and they want to hear beats, like I could always play beats for them. I also have like the ability to be like, yo, what bag you in right now? Like what type of shit you on right now? Like, and I could either play like the melody, or like I could take a sample, or like there's so many different ways to slice it. Like, and I always like making the beat with like the artist there. Like if they're not listening, like I'd rather have, if it's not like somebody just coming in to hear shit, I'd rather have the artist there, so I could just every note I'm gonna be like, I'm real meticulous. Like I'm be like, like, you like that chord progression? Like that chord? They're like, yeah. Or nah, I don't like that. So, because I'm gonna be real, I don't like sending beats out. I don't like sending beats out.
Why?
Like, for multiple reasons.
Is it because you're afraid of the feedback you're gonna get about your beat?
Nah.
So okay, I'll let you.
So I you know what? And for that, I'll just bring up something that hasn't happened to me, but I avoid situations that I don't want to be in. So we'll just look at 6ix9ine real quick. 6ix9ine had one of the craziest runs
Ever.
Like he had one of the craziest runs. But it all started because of Trippie Redd. So Trippie Redd gets a beat from Pierre Bourne. That beat is hot as hell. But Trippie don't know what he gonna do on it. Mind you, he's beefing with 6ix9ine. Like, he's beefing with him. But he's like, yo, here, toma. Because at the end of the day, 6ix9ine's success is Trippie Redd's paycheck, because he ended up finding him and discovering him and bringing him to his manager, so he get 10%.
Yeah.
So he gives him a beat. He makes Gummo. And like, Gummo is still to this day
like
one of his
million views.
biggest songs. Like, and Pierre Bourne looks at it and he's like, what the fuck? I didn't give the beat to him. Why you got this dude on my beat?
Shit.
Yeah. So he takes 6ix9ine to court. He ends up getting 75% of Gummo. To this day, he still gets 75% of that track. And yeah, Pierre Bourne is winning, but he went through a lot of stress, like all in that whole situation. I don't want one of my beats to like end up or on the wrong track, or just like somebody who doesn't have the right identity.
Let me ask you this question. As a producer, if it works, isn't that the success? Isn't that the point? Because you didn't make the. Now don't get me wrong. If somebody's if I'm in the building with you, that's different. You're making that beat specifically for me, right? But if the goal is a producer to send out a 5-pack, you know what I'm saying, an 8-pack of beats that you already made. Let me ask you this question. As a producer, how much does it matter to you who gets your beat? I guess that's what I'm asking.
I mean, sometimes I feel like it don't matter, but like at the same time, I want to get to the point where it's like, I'm like Kanye, and like, you can't NFT my beat because I never sent it to you. Like, if I end up blowing up like, and you never use that beat. Now I'm on. You got the Go Made This tag on your song. Like, now you want to pull it out. Like, even though you didn't like it to begin with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't. And then the thing is, like, with dudes switching beats out and forth, like, you sending the dude, like, mad different beats. Like, even if it's a snippet, you can put it in the hands of any engineer and he could loop it. Or he could, you know, add something to it and make it his own. Like, I just, like, brand identity is, like, really important to me.
As it should be.
And I don't want to give anybody the opportunity to take what's mine and make it theirs, unless it's like an artist that I selected and it's like, oh, like we're working together, like I want you to have this beat, like rap on it, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want anybody to do no day room shit with my beats, like, you know what I mean? Like I done went through the process of getting the formula down to a T, and like I went through the long nights and the frustration of not being able to make a song to it, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where like I could say, and this isn't my words, it's like artists that I work with. It's like, damn, everything hits. Like everything is hitting. So like I don't want somebody to go and like let's say, oh, I don't want this beat. Can we switch it out? I'd rather you switch it out in person. I'm not sending it to you, so we can switch it out in person.
Yes.
And then like
you could give it to somebody else who really
right, or you can give it to somebody else, or still make money off of that song, and now I don't get my publishing off of it. And now I gotta go to court, and I gotta take your ass to court, and now I look like an angry nigga. I look like the mad rapper.
No, not at all.
Taking your ass to court.
To get what you owe.
You know what I mean? But I don't even want to go through that. I'm the type of nigga that I don't. But
what if I told you not sending your shit in the water might not get you caught? Because I feel like, and you're giving me a great segue to where I'm about to go, but I'm gonna say that to you and then I'm gonna move forward. Mm-hmm. I said what I said to you because if you're not throwing them in the water, it ain't gonna get you caught. I say that because I've listened to Adios front to back multiple times. Adios is 20BANDZGO's new album. You feel me? Shit is fire. I've not missed, I ain't skip a track. I told him that. Honestly, he gave it to me. I downloaded it after he told me it was out, and I think I texted him probably like 11 o'clock that night out of nowhere and just told him that shit was fire. I ain't missed nothing yet. And then I think from there we here, right?
Right.
But with that said, where do you draw your personal artistry from now? Like Adios is out. We'll get into certain songs specifically on what the sound is like. Make sure y'all go get that on all platforms as well too. 20BANDZGO. 20BANDZ Go. Make sure you go get that. Adios. Shit is fire. Like I said, on all streaming platforms. But let me ask, what was your motivations now around like this album? Like there's a few sounds that you hear, but it still sounds like you. You know what I'm saying? So if you could explain, what is it like?
January 1st of 2022, I opened for Young Thug. And
where? Don't just go by that. You're gonna stay right there for 2 seconds.
So
where did you open for Young Thug at?
I opened for Young Thug at the fairgrounds, but it was in the indoor stadium.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it. Exposition Center.
Yeah.
I opened there. It was dope. It was so last minute though, so it was like only like a bunch of like college kids that came. But like shout out to the kids that did it, because Young Thug really blessed everybody that was there.
That's what's up.
Yeah, free Thug, man. But I say that because I remember after the show, like Z, which is one of my managers, he ended up talking to Thug, and he was like, "Yo, man, can we get you in the studio?" It was Z and Jay. They pulled him aside, like, "Can we get you in the studio?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I'll slide." So we booked Subcat, and he was supposed to come. But like his manager, I don't want to say he was hating. Like shout outs to Thug, like, but he was just like, "Nah, we gotta go back to Atlanta." Like, so, but you know, Young Thug, like he got a good soul, bro. So he was like, just send me the track, like just send me the track. So he was gonna do a track for each of us, like that was under management, me, my girl, like everybody else that was underneath management for the artist. So we all sent our tracks in, and I just remember like not having anything to really like send him. So like I made something on the spot. And that song ended up, now he's not, free him. That ended up being the OMG track. Like he was supposed to be on OMG.
Wow.
Yeah, so that song was like one of the first songs that I did for the album. And I was like, I just remember like oh, I'm gonna get this Young Thug placement.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta put it on the album. Like,
Yeah.
but when that fell through the cracks, I just remember like, I had nothing but time, and I just sat there and like day by day, like I just made a track and I made a track and I made a track. I probably made like 30, 35 tracks, and I picked the best 14 and I put them on the Adios album. But I remember I just wanted to make something that anybody and everybody could listen to. So like that's why like, you know, there's so many different vibes on it.
Yeah.
Like the first track, the Got It On My Own track, like I remember I made the beat to it, and the Chickmunk voice in the back, like that's my voice. Like, and I remember I made the beat.
Did you adjust the sound, or that's just you?
Yeah, that's me. I pitched it up.
Yeah.
But like I just remember like doing the chords, and at first it was on some real like Erykah Badu shit until I added the drums. But like I just remember like making like the sample. I say, I just want to feel your body close to mine. But like, I just want to feel your body close to mine. But when I made it though, I was like, I don't really like that. So like I did that, but I was like, damn, like I don't like things going to waste. So I was like, I just pitched it up and I put it in the background.
Put it in the background.
And then when I put the drums in, cause sometimes I like just trying like to sing over stuff like before the drums come in. And I did that, and I put the drums in after, and it sounded so hard. And I just remember like, yo, like, cause when I came back to Syracuse, cause the reason I have my own studio was, it wasn't on no hate and shit, but like Sal was just like, yo, like respectfully, like I just invested like 25, 30K into my setup. Like, I just don't feel comfortable
letting anybody touch my shit.
Yeah, and I was like, but it's me. Like, and he was like, nah, like, it's nothing against you. It's just like, you know, like, I just don't want anybody touching it. But and I was like, that's fine. And then I just remember I got like a stimulus, I got my taxes, I got another stimulus, and I was like, let me just put the studio together. Like, I'm gonna just do it on my own. I was gonna work at Subcat, but they was mad disorganized. Like, and I don't want to diss Subcat because they do got some good stuff in there, and they got celebrities pulling up in there at times. But it's just like, if you're not organized, I feel like you're not gonna treat me like a priority. And I didn't want to go through giving somebody half of my money again. Like, so I just put the studio together, and I got that thought when I was making that first track. Like, so like I sit alone, pray for me, I'm lost, I need to roam. I can fight this feeling in my bones. Fuck up on my way because I got it on my own. Like, you know, so I was really feeling myself, and I was like, damn, like I really got it out the mud. Like,
about that, yo, is that's why you are exactly the essence of why I do what I do. Right. Funny story. I know this person. I didn't get a chance to interview him yet, but if I do, I will. Long story short, he gets his tax return back, $7,800.
Jeez.
He says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go grab one dumpster."
Oh,
so you know, like the
he trying to make money.
Come on, you know the big joints you put in your driveway. You get ready to move, you dump, or you doing construction. Whatever. He buys one.
Oh, I thought he was gonna rent it out to other people.
That's what he did. He bought one,
Okay, so
rented it out.
We're thinking the same thing.
Ends up flipping that one, gets another one. Now he's a multimillionaire.
Right.
I'm just gonna give you a brief recap. His wife has to go groom their dog. Goes to groom the dog, groomer's not open. She says, you know what, I'm gonna just go learn how to do a groom dog. She ends up making 3 businesses herself. So I say that to say that your story is exactly what we look like. We come up on that thought process that you need to go to school, go to college, get a degree, you get the job, that job pays for you the rest of your life.
Right.
In some professions that does work, right?
Right.
And it does occur. But a lot of the entrepreneurs in our lives didn't even go through that process. They just woke up one day and bet on themselves, bet on doing things that they like to do, bet on things that they love to do. Right? And they ended up making millions at it because when you're passionate about something, you end up putting your all into it. And most of the time, if you do that, you'll get as much as you could possibly get out of it.
Right.
As long as you have things in your favor. That's exactly why I made this, right? I think there's so many people who wake up every day and they bet on themselves. And when they do, they become successful. But them are the stories that we see on TV every day, right? They always preach to you to go to school, go get this, go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's not the move for everybody to make a dollar, right?
I wanted to go to Full Sail, but I never did.
It's not what you love to do,
Right.
And I think ultimately because you're focusing and mastering on your craft, that it's going to pay off in the long run, right? But with that said, my mother always talks about something we call a hybrid entrepreneur. So what I mean by that is that you take care of your business, which is everyday life things, right? Because we got bills to pay, we got cars to pay, we got food to eat, we got people to take care of, right? But that doesn't mean you got to put your dreams and what you're chasing on hold. So I guess I say all of that to ask you this. Where do you find that balance between chasing your dream as 20 bands go and still meeting the criteria and the basic needs of everyday life?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm still looking for that balance. Like, so I said that first part to say, you know, about the track and stuff. Like, when I make, like, it took me a whole year to make that album. Like, so to the Adios album, and like I got songs from all over that year, all times of month. But like when I'm in album mode, and my girl could attest to this, like, cause she doesn't say like, yo, why you don't hang out with me as much when you making an album? Like, you know, like when I'm in album mode, I really have a hard time like
Dealing with anything else.
balancing that, cause I'm just like tunnel vision. I'm so set like on like where I need to go that I just I forget about everything else. And it's like, it's cause I can see the end result. Like like even before the song is mastered or before the song's mixed, like I can see like, the song could be unmixed, sounds like trash, but I know what it's gonna sound
It's gonna be like at the end.
Yeah, so like I'm still figuring out my balance. And, you know, sometimes, you know, as artists, like we crazy, we disorganized, most of us got mental health problems.
Some
like,
of your best artists got issues.
You know, so
you get your best music through. There's a saying that you get your best music through pain.
Yeah, through
or you get
chaos.
your best music through chaos. Because I think music becomes its rawest form in those moments.
Right. So I'm still figuring out my balance right now to this day. Like, and you know, I'm trying to be a better everything. I'm trying to be a better man. I'm trying to be a better dad. I'm trying to be a better partner, better family member. You know, because I'm still figuring my shit out. I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm 27, but like, and I feel like I'm getting older. But like,
nah, you got a lot of time ahead.
But like, I still feel like I'm that like kid that like was just trying to like, who was just skating from the Bronx to Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like.
Because it's that energy that's gonna keep you going. It's that energy that's gonna keep your art fresh at all times. It's gonna be that energy that keeps you always relevant, and that energy that keeps you always able to be in tune with the youth that you work with and the youth that you inspire as well too. Just simply by being yourself, that you talk to directly and everything. Moving forward though, because we still was on the album Adios. Like I said, I listened to it front to back. If you could pick 3 tracks or 2 tracks, whatever, or your favorite track, I'll leave it up to you, that you can explain the message behind the track, the story behind the session that made the track, etc.
All right, so I want to start off with Dreamin'. So Dreamin', before I even made the song, I remember my dad, he called me, you know, he called and collect. So time is precious, you know, because he only got like 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what day he called. So I just remember like one day, like he's just speaking mad life into me, and I'm like, because I was down, I was feeling bad. I forgot what I was feeling bad about, but I was just feeling down. And you know, it's crazy because before my pops was in my life, I like looked for validation out of my male friends or like my male counterparts, or like, you know, and it's not even like on some weird shit, like, you know, you always like trying to be the class clown in class, or like, you know, or just like, like trying to be the man, exactly, like trying to show off, like. And I realized that like when my pops was in my life, like I stopped like looking for that validation. Like even now, like my girl be like, oh, you need to make some friends, and it's like, I got my friends like that I grew up with,
Yeah.
and like that's all I need. Like I don't feel like I don't really, I don't close myself off to new people if they positive influences in my life, but like I just don't feel the need to like really like do the most to like seek that from other men, because I feel like I feel like now that I'm getting older, like I know I was missing that in my life, and I get that from my dad now. So it's like, it's crazy like how that works, because it's like chemical. Like
But I think you ultimately end up as a man, you become comfortable in your own skin, right?
Right.
Once you become more sure of who you are,
Right.
Your circle tends to,
Yeah.
as a man, just become naturally smaller, right?
Yeah.
Because you figure out what energy you want around you, what energy you don't want around you. And then ultimately, when you get to that point where you figure out what you need,
Yeah.
I'm the youngest out of all my brothers, right? But they always tell me, I got an old soul. So I tell this to my brother all the time. I say, it's quality, not quantity,
All day.
as it pertains to friendship, right?
All day.
So I can see some of my best friends once a year, but when I get with them,
But when you link up, it's a movie.
it's like I was with them yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they forgot about me because they live in life. I shouldn't have, as a man, I shouldn't know everything you do in your life. You should be growing. You know what I'm saying? You should be prospering. You should be moving forward, right? So I don't think it's necessarily funny if I can give you anything in this interview. Don't take it as being funny or interesting. Just take it as you growing. You know what I'm saying? You're naturally sifting out what you want in your life, and what you don't want in your life. If that's you and your two friends and your shorty, that's what it is.
Right.
If it's you,
Gangster.
you know what I'm saying, your kid, it might just be what it is. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it is.
And understand that not only at 27 could that possibly change, it might change at 37.
Right.
It might change at 47.
Right.
It might change at 67.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You might not, life doesn't stop until it stops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you just can never close yourself off to thinking that I don't need any more friends or that I need more friends. Just be you, and what is for you is going to come to you.
What's understood don't need to be explained.
For sure, 110%.
So I remember now why I was feeling down. My dad had just came to me and told me that he had cancer.
Copy.
So I was already down. I was depressed. I was upset. And, you know, my grandma, she just passed like 2 months ago, God bless her. But like she ended up getting cancer at the same time my dad got cancer. And like both of these people are like, I don't want to say they new in my life, but they pretty recent. You know what I mean? I met my dad at 17, like only 10 years ago. And I met my grandma like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So I just remember I was talking to my pops, and like my pops is like a real strong dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he's small. Like he's like 5'1".
Like
I'm
me.
keep it real.
Come on, man, don't be talking about us like that.
but he's strong. Like he's mentally strong. Like it's not just physically. Like his soul is strong. It's so crazy. Like I always ask him like, how can I be more like you? Cause like, bro locked up in the feds, but like he is like inspirational. Like the way he talks, the positivity that he exudes, like he's an inspiration to me. Like he's such a big inspiration. So like I'm talking to him, and like I'm telling him about like how down I am, and I'm like, I just remember like saying like I'm sorry, cause like I know like what I'm going through can't be like as
Compared
deep
to what's going on
as what's So you know like I'm even like feeling it right now, but I just remember him saying, like he said what he said in the beginning of the songs. Like that beginning, like it's not a sample. Like that's my
him.
dad.
That's fire.
On the opening, like
That's fire.
you know, like he's just like talking about like, you know, work hard, like be strong, like don't give up type shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, Dad, can you continue? Like I put the phone to the mic. I clicked the button, and he gave me like 2 minutes. Like, and I cut it, I chopped it up. Yeah. But like if my dad's like my biggest fan. Like if I tell him, yo, Dad, talk about me, like he won't stop. Like so like and I just told him I was feeling down, and he gave me all that. And it just like made me feel like damn, like I gotta work hard. So like that's why I came up with the dreaming out my ends shit. So I'm already out my ends. I'm already out of Gun Hill Projects. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but like I'm trying to get out my ends even more. Like I'm trying to get out my head. Like I'm trying to get out of like my habits. Like I'm trying to get out of all that. So that's why I came up with that hook at. And then like the verse, like 20 bands go, ain't no option. You know, like you know, like. I put my trophies up in the case when I make it, like, you know, so like it's just like I was looking forward into the future, and like
I think you kind of attacked, kind of like when I listened to the song, it's funny you said that. I kind of feel like you attacked your beginning insecurities in a sense, and then kind of just talking of the manifestation of where you want to be
Right.
throughout the remainder of the song.
Right.
If that makes sense to you. I hope I interpreted it right or how you
Nah.
intended, but that's how I
You
took it
on
when I
point.
listened to it.
That song is really close to my heart. And it's crazy because that was the song that I was the most insecure about on the track because I show a lot of tracks to my friend Deuce. Like he lives close to me. He comes by. He's one of my like close friends in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Like I met him years and years ago when I first moved out here. And I just remember him saying like, yo, why your voice sound like that? Like, why you sound like you about to kill somebody? Like, so like, it made me feel like, damn, like, do I really sound like that? So I felt a little insecure at first because I tried to like be more energetic on it, but it just didn't
Come out
feel
that way.
right. Like it didn't.
But ultimately,
feel right.
I think music and art is natural emotion, right?
Right.
And if you explain how you felt, then that's probably how it came out.
Right.
You feel what I'm
Right. It
saying?
was like
and I think
whispered.
it came from a space of, I guess, not knowing where to place those feelings. But then also hearing that from your father was like, you know what I'm saying? It was I think you can only put out in music and in art what you actually
Right.
feel, or your fans or people that are listening aren't going to take it the way it was intended.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you go into art thinking, how will this person take it, as opposed to, this is how I feel,
Right.
the impact is going to be completely different.
Right. So that's where I came up with that song.
Is that your favorite track on the album?
It's not.
Okay, so what's your favorite track on the album?
My favorite track, it changes a lot. It goes.
Pause, mine. I got to say mine right now.
Go for it.
Pause, big pause. Swole is it Swole?
Yeah, it's swole.
That's my track right
My
there.
pockets on swole. Yeah.
Go ahead, give me a little.
Go up. No, I'm blessed when I see how it's grown because that was my song.
That's fire. That's fire. That's my joint. Pause, big pause, exclamation point pause. But you know what I'm saying? Swole is my shit. But go ahead, what's your favorite song?
So it changes. It goes from track 1, which is Got It On My Own, to I think it's track 8, which is or 10, which is Same Blood.
Okay.
I love that song, man. Or oh shit. I got so many favorites on it. That's so hard to pick.
It's yours too,
If
but
I'm
you're
gonna,
supposed to. I
if
like
I'm gonna
it.
pick one, if I'm gonna pick one, I'll probably say, damn, it's like a tie between, because everybody else's favorite song is Adios. Like, that's the one that, like, everybody's like,
Yeah, that should be riding.
but, like, my favorite track is it's either Same Blood or Wandering Souls. Like, it's one of those. It's like one of the calmer tracks. Same Blood it got the drum and bass part, but, like, that part is like, you know, I'm talking about loyalty, you know, like say you we never folded on my day ones, like we the same blood, and it goes right back to like me saying like, yeah, I don't want to really make friends, like I got my niggas already, like I got people who I know is not gonna fold on me, I'm not gonna fold on them, and I wanted to try something new, and like that was like I'm gonna give credit where it's due. My girl put me on to Pink Pantheress. She is hard. She's a problem, and I just know like all her shits is like break beats or like drum and bass, and I'm like, wow, like she's really doing that shit. Like she's crushing it.
I always ask what the beginning of somebody's life was, or anything like that, because I feel there's a direct correlation, direct connection between how your upbringing was to what your passions are, and then not only what your passions are, but what you naturally do for work or choose to do for work. Right. When you hear your story from the beginning, it sounds like a lot of the kids that you ironically chose to work with on a daily basis.
Right.
So when we talk about that balance, I want to let you know that you did find a little bit of it, right?
Right.
We talk about the balance between being able to pay the bills and do your job that brings money consistently so that you can live, but then also still chasing your dreams. Right. In doing so, you were able to find things that you love to do on both ends. You love music, and you love helping kids that come from a background that you might have came from as well too. I met you through the foundation that me and you both work for, the Good Life Foundation out of Syracuse, which we help at-risk youth that are within the Syracuse City School District. They placed us right into the schools. I'm with the One Mic organization. There's also 315 Lift, who deals with a different population of youth as well too out of Syracuse, but all of them at-risk youth who just need extra support and need people who look like them, act like them, know where they come from, know their culture, inspire them to be all of who they can be and all of themselves, entrepreneurially, academically, and any way that we could possibly inspire them to just be well. My man, 20BANDZGO, Joe, works with me as well too, and he embodies what that foundation is about as well too. I'm a very proud member of that organization who just joined that, but I want to get into a little bit of what's your favorite part of that work that you do? What is it that brings you back to work every day? Because it is a tough job.
Right.
But I want you to say from your experience.
So I started working through Good Life, I want to say at the end of 2020, like the beginning of 2021. And so I was placed in STEM App Logic, and I'm not gonna lie, my best experience ever was there. Like these kids, like it was a lot easier with sixth graders. I'm not gonna lie. Sixth graders, they're younger, they're easier to impress, like easy buy-in, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not gonna lie, all them kids, like, they like near and dear to my heart. Now they all in high school now, so it's like, they all grown now, but some of them still reach out to me to this day, like, yo, what's up, Mr. Diaz? Actually, they call me Mr. Diaz. Like, yo, you still make music? I all that. But I just remember like just hearing like they situations, like dealing with like just like the gangs on they block, stuff like that, stuff that we all dealt with growing up in like risky places, and I just remember like just talking to them, like taking them to play basketball, but also like when school wasn't in session, like we would go to the Vision Center, and like I remember bringing my whole studio in, it's like just to make it fun for them, because like at the end of the day, like we training them to like make something out of nothing, like make something of themselves with nothing, like because they kids, like people gonna buy whatever they got to sell. So I just remember like I came with my whole studio. I made them all beats, like right there on the spot. Some kids didn't want to rap, some kids wanted to produce, so I made some beats with the kids. Like that was fun, like taking parts of like who I am, like behind closed doors, and showing them like, yo, this is what I do, and them being like, damn, you cool as fuck.
It's so funny how the simplest things that you show a kid, right, brings back their full interest, right?
Right.
And I say this to people all the time that I work with. When you work in the field that we work in, it's not about the paycheck.
Right.
It's nice.
Right.
But it's the everyday interaction, right? It's the something new every day.
Right.
It's the fact that just you being yourself, whether you're verbally telling the kids something, whether you're just moving in a certain manner as to what your principles are, all the time is constantly just influencing the child that's in front of you.
Right. Or if you're just there every day.
Or just being there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they just don't see a person
consistency.
every single solitary day.
Right.
They don't see that kid that's going to get on them and tell them they're doing wrong and then hug them the next morning, right? They don't get to see that. I got into the field of working with at-risk youth at 21. I'm 33 now. You're 27 years old. My mentor, his name's Robbie Barnes. I always give him kudos for this reason. When he first started dealing with us, when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, he was only 24 years old.
Right.
Right? 24 years old, you could have been out drinking.
That's when I started too.
Going to do what you wanted to do, finding the next girl, living life, right?
Right.
But you chose to take some of your time in your prime to give back to kids that you thought needed it, right?
Right.
And whether it's a job or not, we do that with that same thought process.
Right.
So I just want to commend you as a young man who was chasing his dreams and could easily say any day, right? I'm gonna go do this music shit, I'll be back for y'all, right? But you choose to walk into work every day, deal with kids that come from a situation that you are familiar with, and give them not only hope through your words, but hope through just your presence and being there every day.
Right.
And it takes a certain individual to do the work that we do. And especially it takes a certain individual to do the work that we do as young as you're doing it.
Right.
So I just want to let you know I commend you for that 110%.
Like, well, bro, we in this
For
shit
sure.
together.
For
Like,
sure. And if we ain't gonna do it, who the hell gonna do it?
Right.
You feel me?
All right.
But I want to ask, doing the work that you do, what's your favorite part of it? I hear you say that you give back your personal interest and things like that, and it gravitates them more to you. But let me not ask what your favorite part of it is. Let me ask what your favorite story is, without mentioning the kid. What gratifying moment made you know you were doing the right work at the right time?
Oh man, I got a bunch. I'm gonna keep them short. One of the kids was in a bad situation. I seen he had like bug bites all over him. Like I went to when we were during COVID. Like we had to constantly go bring food to their cribs. And I just remember like when school was in session, like they would always roast him for wearing the same pants and the same sneakers every day, like every single day. And I said,
Kids mean as hell.
yeah, they
Sometimes they say, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Travis, you short as shit. Or Mr.
They do the same thing to me.
Or Mr. Travis, you bald. Or Mr. Travis, you got ingrown hair on your face. You look mad nasty, right? And you got to go in there with a certain level of self-esteem.
Right, you got to go in there with that
Go in there, you know what I'm
self-control.
saying? You can't let them be. You can't go in there thinking, "Damn, am I really this ugly as they say I'm?"
If I roast you, now I'm the villain.
Exactly. I
I'm
might
wrong.
not get a paycheck again. So you definitely, I think they make us tough skin, but what else?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
What
I
else?
just remember like these kids just like roasting him every day, like, oh, you wear the same clothes every day. And I just remember like my style changed. Like I used to wear like short shirts, like small shirts, and like it would come up real high on my pants.
Yeah.
Cause like I wear pants like I got like Japanese denims, like and I like showing off the details sometimes.
Sidebar, you wore them you wore some red joints that I don't know if they stack jeans, nothing like that. I just need a pair, you know what I'm saying? 32, 34, you know what I'm saying? Send them my way.
I got you. I got you. I'll put you on.
You know what I'm saying? Let me know, do your thing.
My style changed, and I started wearing like baggier tees, like baggier clothes in general. Today I came in the skinnies, but you know I just felt like being a little classy today. But most days like I come in like the super baggy pants, I just remember that, and I had mad polo shirts and like mad like just like little designer stuff here and there.
What you can give a kid.
And I just tossed them at him. I'm like, yo, bro, take this, and this. And like, I just remember seeing him come to school every day, like in the clothes that I gave him. I'm like, yo, son, you looking fly, like you fly, like I'm not even gonna play with him. I never say like, oh, where you got that from, but I'll always be like, yo, you fly, son, and I'll make sure I say that in front of the other kids. I'm like, yo, you really fly, bro, like you got swag, like let me get some, like.
Here at the Cloud, we live in a space where we got our phones, you know what I'm saying? And any picture, any message, anything you do can live on for years and years in the cloud, right? I call this place the Cloud because I would like to leave something for each of my viewers that's inspirational and something that the people that are inspiring to me, which is you, can leave in the cloud for them to look back on whenever they come to see this episode.
Right.
So from 20BANDZGO, Joe, the producer, the rapper, the singer, the person who gives back to his community not only through his work but through just his good soul. What is something you would like to leave in the cloud for any viewer that comes back to watch this episode to remember you by and to take forward in life?
I just want to say, be a good person. I'm gonna look at the camera for this part. Be a good person.
This one,
Like, just when you see somebody like going through it and shit like that, like don't kick them while they down. It's so easy to just like laugh at somebody. And I find myself being like the old nigga in the Instagram comments all the time when I see shit like that's just like not funny. And all these people are like laughing and shit. And I always comment like, that shit is not funny. Like, just be a good person. Like, talk somebody up. Like, make somebody feel better. That shit really makes a difference. Like, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or because my girl is like, she just got such a good soul. But like, just be a good person. Like, that's the only thing I could say. Like, that shit will come back to you 10 million %.
Appreciate your message, man. Now, I'm gonna look at my camera because as we talk about good people and talking about the organization we work for, let me give you a little bit more background on that. I work for an organization where all my executives, all my administration is African American. I work for an organization that has given people who normally come out of tough situations or mistakes in their life that don't get a chance to make a salary. And not only make a salary, but while doing so, change the lives of the people who lived like them prior or after them as well, too. I work for an organization that gives back to its community tenfold, loves its employees, but loves its community 10 times more. And in doing so, it takes a certain person, like I said prior to Joe, to work in that space. I don't know if you guys have been able to see the back of my computer. If not, I'll show it to you guys. Her name is Aisha Haskins Stevens. She was a coworker of mine, somebody I worked with, also at STEM at Blodgett. She was an inspiration to all the kids, all the staff that she worked with. I worked with her the shortest period of time. But within that time, she became a sister to me. She became somebody I confided in. She became somebody that every time I was around, whether I was down or up, was able to get me more of up than anything else, if that makes any sense. There's also one other person that I also want to shout out as well too in this space. His name was Willie Hames, a close friend of mine who passed away literally the day after Miss Aisha died. And that was a best friend of mine that was a good soul in the same exact fashion. Always wanted to know where his boys was at, always checking on his boys' kids, cooking for his family and his friends when he could, checking in on people. Always loved his people. Never had a bad thing to say about anybody. Don't matter if y'all was beefing, you was beefing with his sister. If he loved you, he loved you. You don't run into people like Aisha and Willie too much in this world at all. With that said, before we go into anything else, I want to thank 20BANDZGO for giving me his time, being the special person that he is, being the wonderful artist that he is, being the inspiration to the young people that he works with on a daily basis, and being an inspiration to me. One thing I think everybody needs to know is that no matter if they older than you or younger than you, that person could teach you something. And I gotta say, Joe taught me something as well too, but these two young people that I was also talking about taught me a lot, and I hold dear to my heart. So with that said, I do want to do a little 10-second moment of silence for Aisha Haskins Stevens and Willie James Hames Jr. Thank y'all. Welcome to the cloud, and may they rest in peace.